Hello, my name is Isabel, and this is my reaction of the body ritual among the Nacirema by Minor. I thought that this was a really fascinating artistic piece on kind of how an outsider would see America. He obviously wrote it really dramatized, which was really awesome to read. I thought it was a really fascinating piece. With this, he kind of made it seem like our day-to-day tasks are very ceremonial, which was kind of a cool take on it. If you think about it, it can definitely be seen as a ceremony. I feel like ceremonies are things that, a culture does, mostly for gods, I feel like is what we see, or for whatever their religion is, or obviously what their culture entails. So taking something such as like brushing your teeth and turning it into a ceremony is kind of an interesting take on it. So let's see. Brought up the bathroom routines and how he brings that. I thought it was interesting how much he focused on oral health. He talked about dentists a lot, and obviously brushing your teeth, looking in the mirror and doing your tasks like that. So that was really fascinating. And then another thing I thought was interesting was when he talked about hospitals, doctors, and dental offices as if they were temples, and we go there to be worked on and to be fixed, essentially. So that was really cool. And overall, I think that this is a satire piece that is really made for us to look at and kind of self-reflect and see how others might see us. After reading that piece of literature, I took a step back and kind of reflected how my own culture reflects of that, as well as how it connects to the United States cultural worldview and values. With that, I really wanted to focus on the Paiute Shoshone culture I grew up in within Inyo County. A big part of growing up, we always attended powwows, which is a very important part of the culture. It's very much a connection and celebration of many different aspects. According to Carr, powwows are important as they preserve the culture, allow spiritual connections, build a stronger community, and educate others. These are shown through music, food, dance, and more. And I feel that it's really important for us to take a look at powwows and things like that, because it's such a rich part of the American history. With the United States world view, it really focuses on the individualism, the community, and the identity of America. This can be seen through the individual dresses, such as the jingle and ribbon dresses. It can be seen through drawing families being closer. It creates a very, very intense and brought together community, makes it a lot stronger. Another part that I'll kind of talk more about is the fact that powwows are now open to a lot of other cultures, so it's really nice. It kind of helps educate people on the things I got to grow up with. And then, as I had stated earlier, it's also a rich part of the United States history. While I was growing up, there was actually a time when local tribe events dwindled because of the lack of care, or I don't think it's necessarily care, but it was this weird gray area where people just kind of stopped doing it for a while. They stopped doing the events, they stopped doing powwows and things like that. Powwows and gatherings are very much focused on tradition, and they've kind of modernized to fit younger generations, which I think helps generations like my age group want to get back into doing the cultural aspects of it. According to Carr, powwows today have evolved in terms of becoming more open to audiences, which is something I've seen. It used to be kind of far and few that there were non-Indigenous people at the events, and now when you go, there's a lot more. It's a lot more open to different cultures, which is really nice to see. It kind of teaches people about us and keeps the culture alive. Let's see. They've also begun to introduce modern music, which is kind of cool, and dance performances. And then another change that I have noticed is a change in reason of these celebrations. Growing up, sometimes I remember, sometimes I don't, but I remember at one of the local events up here in Reno, they actually did a sober dance. This was a celebration where they celebrated sobriety in the culture, and they really benefited off of coming together and just kind of having special dances, special songs, things like that to celebrate the sobriety, which is really nice. While seeing how powwows have changed it throughout history, it can also be seen how this can be beneficial to the United States culture. According to Carr, powwows and other Indigenous performances are by far one of the most essential ways of preserving and expressing culture. I feel like in America especially, we thrive off of culture. So being able to have something like a powwow where it's traditional, it's deep-seated into the American history, it really becomes essential and important for the younger generations to further grow and to teach everyone about the ways of the native lands. This is done through songs, dance, and storytelling. Indigenous people can transmit their unique worldviews and experiences, ensuring that younger generations stay connected to their heritage. That was stated by Carr. I really liked what he had to say throughout his entire article that I read, because it really, really focused on each individual aspect and why it's important for people to know about the Indigenous culture. So again, just to kind of reiterate, I know this is all over the place. In a country where heritage and cultures mix, it is extremely important to maintain the history from older generations to new. Indigenous cultures are arguably known as the backbones to the United States, making it even more important to preserve. So again, I feel like this is really beneficial to U.S. culture. It really teaches us spirituality, it teaches us coming together through songs, dance, education. That word of mouth education is really important as well. And that is pretty much my entire review, while adding it onto the culture that I grew up on.